Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of this Sunday anatomy lesson. Today we're going to be talking about the frontalis muscle, the muscle that sits in the forehead. This is a very interesting muscle. This is the muscle that causes those vertical lines that go across your forehead like this, these Wi-Fi lines. So this muscle, it inserts in the orbicularis oculi, the muscle that sits around the eye, and then inserts back into the fascia of the skull. There's a lot of variation in this muscle amongst different people. And it's a muscle that needs careful consideration when using toxin. Well, because it is the only levator muscle of your upper face, of your forehead. So it's the only muscle that's lifting the brows and lifting all of this area. All the other muscles, like the glabella we talked about last Sunday, goes in and down only. It does not lift. Only the frontalis lifts. So you need to treat this muscle very conservatively. If you over-treat it, what can happen? Browtosis. Browtosis is a really horrible side effect. Adverse effects, I should say, of toxin. And fun fact, it has happened to me. I naturally have low sitting, heavy brows, so I have to be very conservative in the way that I treat my frontalis. So the frontalis, you want to treat in the upper 1/3, 2/3 margin. You never want to go lower than that because it can cause the browtosis. And also, I like to treat very conservatively. I prefer to underdose this muscle, have my clients come back after 2 weeks, reassess, and see if they need any extra dosing across that muscle. Because, living with the browtosis, there's nothing that we can do to reverse it other than time, allowing the toxin to reverse. The other thing that's interesting about the frontalis is that because it inserts into the orbicularis oculi, the glabella is sitting deep underneath it. And when you're treating the glabella, some of the toxin ends up diffusing into this portion of your frontalis and also causes heaviness and relaxation in this area. And if you're someone who has a very weak or small procerus, which is what I have, treating the procerus, pretty much all of the toxin that gets injected into that muscle will end up diffusing into the frontalis here. And I think that's what caused my browtosis the first time it happened. So you really need to make sure you're seeing an injector who understands the variation in the anatomy in this area and can really assess your face and see what's strong and what's weak. The frontalis has lots of variations. Some people have it in one long sheet. Others have it split with fascia in the center, so there's no muscle in the center portion. And you can kind of see that when you ask them to animate, whether it's a split or one sheet fascia. Some are very strong, some are rather weak, and some have very long foreheads with a large frontalis muscle. Others have very short foreheads. So for individuals with very short foreheads or those that wear bangs, I will often say, let's hold off and not treat your frontalis at all, because when we treat your glabella, you are going to get some relaxation in your frontalis, as I mentioned earlier. And come back in 2 weeks, let's assess. Do you still feel you really need to treat the frontalis? And often they'll say, no, I'm happy with the results. So it's a very interesting muscle group. That's all I have to say. Comment below if you have any questions about it. And I'll see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday Anatomy Lesson. Bye, guys.